At 29,032 feet above sea level, Mount Everest sits at the edge of what the human body can survive. Temperatures drop to -40 degrees. Oxygen levels fall to a third of what we breathe at sea level. Every step above base camp is a calculated gamble with death. For over a century, one group of humans has navigated this mountain better than anyone else on Earth, the Sherpas of Nepal. Guides of extraordinary skill, endurance, and courage who have carried the weight of the world's ambitions on their backs, literally and figuratively. But something new is coming to the mountain. And for the first time in history, a Sherpa won't be making that climb alone. A robot, engineered with artificial intelligence at its core, is being prepared to assist Sherpa climbers on the slopes of Mount Everest. This isn't a science fiction concept. This isn't a distant prototype. This is happening now. The robot is designed to handle what humans struggle most with at altitude, carrying heavy loads through extreme terrain, without fatigue, without oxygen dependency, and without the physiological limits that make every step above the death zone a risk to human life. For Sherpas who for generations have shouldered oxygen tanks, tents, food, ropes, and equipment for clients who often contribute little to the actual logistics of a summit push, this technology could represent something profound: relief from the most dangerous parts of a dangerous job. To understand why this matters, you have to understand what Sherpas actually do. The Sherpa people of the Himalayan region have become legendary in the mountaineering world, not just as guides, but as the backbone of nearly every major Everest expedition. They establish camps, fix ropes on the most treacherous sections of the route, ferry supplies across the Khumbu icefall, considered the most statistically dangerous section of the climb, and often summit multiple times in a single season while their clients summit once. Between 1953 and today, Sherpas account for a disproportionately high percentage of Everest fatalities. The ice, the altitude, the avalanches, these dangers don't discriminate, and much of the exposure comes from load carrying. Repeated trips, more time on the mountain, means more exposure to the mountain's deadliest moods. The robot being deployed isn't trying to replace the Sherpa. It's trying to remove the most lethal parts of their job. Artificial intelligence allows the machine to navigate unpredictable terrain. Ice fields that shift, snow that collapses, rock that crumbles. Its sensors can process information about the environment in real time, adjusting its movement, redistributing its own weight, detecting instability that a human might not notice until it's too late. It doesn't need to rest. It doesn't need supplemental oxygen. It doesn't panic. And perhaps most importantly, it can make repeated runs through the Khumbu icefall without accumulating the fatigue and psychological toll that makes that corridor increasingly dangerous for human carriers over time. But this story is about more than one mountain. What we're watching on the slopes of Everest is a preview of how AI will begin integrating into roles that seemed permanently human, physically demanding, environmentally complex, emotionally high-stakes roles where failure means death. We've already seen AI assist in search and rescue operations, autonomous vehicles navigating disaster zones, drones delivering medical supplies to remote villages. Now we're sending intelligence, not just tools, but adaptive learning systems, into one of the most hostile environments on the planet, and it's working. Not everyone sees this as progress. Critics raise a question worth sitting with. If robots absorb the physical labor of Sherpa work, what happens to the culture, the livelihood, the identity of a people whose expertise has defined them globally for generations? The Sherpa community earns significant income from the mountaineering industry. The logistics, the guiding, the load carrying, these aren't just tasks, they're an economy. And when machines begin to absorb economic functions, history tells us the transition is rarely clean. Others counter that reducing human exposure to lethal conditions is an unconditional good, that no amount of cultural weight is worth a human life on a frozen serac above 20,000 feet. Both are right, and that tension is exactly what makes this moment worth paying attention to. Everest has always been a mirror. We climb it not because it offers anything practical, but because it reveals something about us, our ambition, our hubris, our capacity to push past what we were told was impossible. Now we're sending something up that mountain that didn't evolve here. Something we built. Something that thinks. And for the first time, the question at the top of Everest isn't just whether the human body can make it. It's what it means to make it at all. This is Off the Couch. We'll see you next time.